Welcome to Tavistock Talks, the podcast where we discuss the key trends from the business world and bring you expert commentators to share their views.
Once again, welcome to Tavistock Talks, and thanks you very much for Anthony Viljoen for your time, CEO of Andrada. And today's podcast is really about Andrada Mining, and last week's announcement that stated they secured $2.5 million for construction funding for an additional tin processing plant at US. I think just before we start talking about last week's announcement. Sad news, wasn't it, really, last week with regards to Sam Nujoma, the founding father of Namibia. He must have made a big impact to your business in Namibia.
Hi, Charles, and to all the Tavistock Talks folks that are listening out there. Thanks again for having us on. Before we go into it, very sad news. Sam Nujoma was a giant in Southern African liberation history. He really was a sort of a pathfinder in terms of what it took to establish a democratic country in Namibia. It was his forethought that came up with a lot of the institutions that allow Namibia to be one of the most favorable investment destinations in Africa. He left a very proud legacy, and he will be remembered as a giant on the African continent. And may he rest in eternal peace, with the knowledge that he that he started something quite significant in his lifetime.
He certainly has, and I think actually I'd say Namibia is probably top of the charts of the most respected and favourable place to do business in sub-Saharan Africa. And yes, very sad day for all Namibians and anyone involved with Namibia. Right, let's go straight into last week's announcement. And congratulations, by the way, that's excellent news. So tell us a little bit of what is this deal with the Orange Trust, and how did it come about?
Yeah, so Charles, look, it's basically taking advantage of a very lucrative opportunity that we see coming up in the tin market. We've expanded our mineral resource estimate at site. We have one of the biggest tin deposits globally. Very importantly for the non sort of mining or non-technical folks out there, we've got a very favorable mineralogy for extracting tin from the source rock, and a lot of our operation is based on just moving tonnages around. We saw that as we were expanding pits, and we saw an opportunity to smooth out our strip ratio by incorporating other pits, which is what the old timers used to do. And this combined with where we see the tin price going in the next couple of months gave us a really easy opportunity to open another pit, look at regional opportunities. Bearing in mind, Eronga is a massively mineralized province with just a huge abundance of minerals, and this allows us to dramatically scale up our operations. Notwithstanding the CI2 and other initiatives that we're looking at, those remain ongoing. This was just a really low-hanging fruit that we could take advantage of.
And I mean, the Orange Trust. I mean, why did you decide to agree to work with them on the funding? I'm sure you had other funding options. What's the relationship with the Orange Trust?
Yeah, so look, I mean, the Orange Trust have been long-standing shareholders that back the company. We don't want to obviously raise equity for an initiative like this. It allows us a little bit of time to get the banks comfortable with what this new initiative entails. So it was a once again an opportunistic a deal that we did with an existing shareholder, and also very much highlights the long-term support that we have from shareholders. I know that dilution is always on people's mind, but we're a growing concern now, and we've got and we can use our cash flows and our inherent abilities to bring new opportunities to market like this.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. This is why it's so exciting for companies of your size. I mean, funding is always a bit of it's always an issue, especially in today's market. Let's just drill a little bit down into the loan itself. Just a couple of quick questions here. When do you expect to receive the loan, and can you talk me through the terms of the loan in a broad way?
Yeah, look, it's a short-term, let's call it a bridge facility at this stage. Loans, the cash should be in the account already, and it's relatively high sort of yield for the investors, but we are looking at ways in which we can bring the banks in on this in the longer term.
And with these growth initiatives, I think, are you thinking then that the other options to looking at coming back to the market for further funding, there may well be talk that the other mining companies are looking to try and looking at funding initiatives to try and accelerate the development. What are Andrada's plans at this stage?
Yeah, so Charles, it's quite important to just highlight. We look at our company as a regional explorer and developer of minerals. We've got three world-class assets that we are unlocking the value from. You'll know, obviously, we did a very good value accretive transaction with SQM. That relationship is building. We are still waiting Competition Commission on that, but that should be fairly imminent. That's out of our control. Uis, was once the biggest open costs tin mine in the world. We've brought that into production. It's a going concern. We are expanding it. I know that's people do sort of get concerned about costs, but we're responsible miners. When times are good, you mine a little bit more aggressively, and when times are bad, you pull back. But we're anticipating good times ahead on the mining and a commensurate decrease in costs. So we've unlocked the value. We also see Brandberg West as another opportunity that I think we can unlock value in a similar manner in the short term. But then, we're not just a one-trick pony, and we've got value across a portfolio of world-class assets in a world-class mining jurisdiction. We've got a proven operation and mining development capacity, and we've got great geology. It's phenomenal how underexplored this geology is, and we've established ourselves as first mover and proven ourselves to be able to mine in this geology and extract the minerals successfully. So I don't think people give us that much credit at this stage, but the coming months, all of our work will be on display anyway. So they can wait for that.
And that's why, actually, that's very interesting, because actually during the Mining Indaba conference, which was a couple of weeks ago, the two things that were really talked about in some detail inside the conference and outside was tin and Namibia. It was on the tip of everyone's tongue. So you're right. It is sort of mildly is misunderstood how good it is to do business there, especially when there's only 3 million people and the country's bigger than France. So just going back to the loan. Right. So with regards to the loan, when do you expect to deploy the funds, and where do you want to deploy the funds once you've received them?
So look, I mean, we want to deploy immediately. We've got fairly aggressive plans in terms of getting this plant up and running. The important thing, once again, is that we understand the mineralogy, and I can't emphasize that enough. So what that means is we've got a very coarse cassiterite crystal, which stands out amongst other deposits. So what people don't understand is a lot of the tin that occurs in the cassiterite, generally around the world, it's very fine, but ours is very coarse, so we get very easy liberation. So we understand the ore body, we understand how to extract it, we understand the geology, we understand how to make money out of it. This is basically just an add-on. So the quicker we can get this into production, obviously, the better. But with the benefit of an operating capacity and development knowledge, we think we can hopefully hit the tin price when it does start to gallop.
And all going to plan. How do you see this funding impacting the broader strategy of Andrada?
Look, it's just going to accelerate our strategy. Obviously, we are very bullish. We're very capable. We've got a very capable team. We've done the hard yards, and now it's just to prove our capabilities. We don't want to be rampers. We miners. We had to dig holes and sell dirt.
You certainly do. And with regard to Andrada's longer term vision with SQM and of the increased potential production of tin, the long term vision, I suspect, hasn't changed. It's still pretty solid, right?
100%. And as I said, we've got an incredible portfolio of assets now, not just a one-trick pony. It's unlocking those assets, unlocking the other elements like the lithium. We've just announced another shipment on the lithium. We're obviously going to have SQM doing a very extensive drilling program over the course of the year on the lithium. So it's about unlocking value across the portfolio of assets. And bear in mind, there's a big geopolitical divide in the world at the moment, and these are all the critical raw materials that people are looking at. So it gives us, we've got the competitive advantage of being in production, and people need to understand that production cash flows are everything.
And thank you once again. I think that's congratulations once again on last week's announcement. Thank you for your time. The very best of luck with continuing the vision and the long-term strategy for Andrada. And yes, that was Tavistock Talks. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. All the best.